which is the bad stuff. Typically, a traumatic or fearful event only takes once to reshape your nervous system. The good news is there are things that you can do to reshape your nervous system. Additional plasticity to change those connections so that the traumatic or fearful event is no longer traumatic or fearful.
What does that mean, like, to us? Carving neural pathways is what we, in training, we call muscle memory. It's neural pathways is what we're doing, right? And so that means reacting the right way in defensive tactic training or firearms or in use of force scenarios. It's because we carve our neural pathways, and that only is accomplished if we do it on a continuous basis, right? And that's how we do that. Like he said, up until the age of 25, that's when we really become hardwired. We can still change our ways and change our way of thinking and change our how we react to situations, but it takes a lot of training. So if you were to go to the academy, like down south, they don't train as much as you guys train, So if they go to the academy, they might not train again for the next 10 years, which is why it seems like a lot of bad shit happens down south, right? So, and that's because they don't practice this stuff, so it's not muscle memory, i.e. they don't have the neural pathways carved out like you all should have or do have, which is why it's important to go to training on a continuous basis, no matter what you're doing, no matter what the training is. But you relay that into mindfulness and in healthier living is if you can practice everything that we've talked about, practice positivity, right? Make it a point to practice positivity. That's going to carve those neural pathways to think more positive. Now it's tough though. It's really tough, especially because what it is the brain is more adapt to recognize negativity, right? Because negativity is what was our survival, way back in the day, back in the Fred Flintstone days, right? That's how we survived. But positivity, they say the brain is Velcro for negativity and Teflon for positivity. And you have to hold a positive experience. You have to hold it, the sensation, for 11 or 12 seconds for it to stick. Negativity, right away, it's going to stick. You won't forget it, right? Which, if you all think back, I'm sure you guys would agree. You remember the negative stuff. You remember, when in middle school when that girl didn't want to dance with you, right? Or that guy. I'm not here to judge, right? But you remember the negative stuff. You don't remember the positive stuff because the positive stuff really has to stick with you longer, and you have to make it a point to stick there longer. So what practicing mindfulness can do for you is recognize the positivity and recognize it immediately and allow you to stay there in the moment. And because now you have to absorb that for a little bit longer, and that's going to stick with you. And the more that you do that, the more you're going to recognize the positives, right? Is anybody military? Anybody Army? None of you are Army? Some of you are Army. You just don't want to raise your hand. Okay, I get it. Nobody's a Marine though, right? Okay, good.
Everybody's military, right?
Really? Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in the military, in the Army, I should say, I was a resiliency trainer in the Army. That was a collateral duty on top of being an MP. But and I was a suicide intervention officer. So what they taught us was to teach the soldiers to hunt the good. That's the phrase, hunt the good, right? And what that means is find the good in even the worst day. Find it, hunt the good, find the damn good somewhere. Which every day, if you think about it, there is a good. On my worst day of my life, January 22nd, 2009, when I lost that soldier, he was too young to lose his life in combat and all that, but there must have been some good that day. And when you think about it, it's like, well, how the hell could they be good that day? Well, the rest of us, are alive, right, and continued on, right? Nonprofit was created in his name. That's still going for whatever the math is on that, 15 years now, right? So like some good has happened. Even that day, some good has happened. The rest of us made it home alive. I lost one soldier, but the other 40 lived, right? And that's not like a pity me, because some people lost 100 soldiers, right? So, but there's always a hunt the good. And what I try to do is relay that into my life now, and I also try to instill it into my kids growing up. As much as they hated it, right, at the dinner table, right, when we're all sitting down, which I think is a big deal, sitting down at the dinner table, right, and eating together, is, all right, highs and lows, man. Tell me some positives today. Yeah, we do this every night. All right, well, then you should know what to say by now. It was an awful day. I had a test, and okay, so nothing good happened today? No. How was recess? And they talk about recess and they get all excited. Oh, so something good happened today, right? Make them find something good. Make it a habit, right? And so then that's what's going to instill carve out their neural pathways. And so now my son is in Army basic training. One of my sons, not the 8-year-old, that'd be weird. But the 20-year-old, he's in Army basic training at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and he called me back a few weekends ago. He goes, Dad, they're talking about hunt the good. I remember you used to always say that. I'm like, holy shit, you guys were listening? But it turns out they were listening. So it does stick with them if you make it a habit, what's the negative to doing that, right? It always teach them to find the good. There's so much negative in the world. I mean, what's going on right now? the World War III is about to happen. You all about to get deployed to riots in a few weeks. I mean, all this shit is happening, right? It's the end of the world. Find the good somewhere, guys. Let's try to make it a habit to find some positivity somewhere, and that's what's gonna allow us to live healthier and happier and longer. By the way, right? Because with this negativity, what does negativity do? It snowballs, right? It snowballs into more stress and all that stuff, which means higher cortisol levels, right? Throughout the whole day, higher cortisol levels, and that's where the stress comes in. Which the added stress, continuous stress, leads to a lot of health problems, right? With your heart, and cancer, and just a lot of other stuff. So that's why it's so important to kind of carve those neural pathways to look for the positivity and look for gratitude. Right? Does that make sense? They know what they say. They say doing something for 21 days is what creates the habit. So if you could express gratitude for 21 days straight of anything, anything that you're grateful for, and it doesn't have to be something so grandiose. It could be thankful, and I'm grateful. Is anybody in that office? I'm grateful that Dunkin' Donuts finally got my coffee right today. That's pretty awesome because they never do. I'm grateful that my dad beat cancer. I'm grateful, whatever the case may be, that I have the new truck. I'm grateful for whatever, right? I'm grateful for this class, that I'm able to teach this class to a bunch of cops and COs and dispatchers that need this training to live healthier. Well, that's good stuff. If I can do that for 21 days straight, that's going to create a habit, carve the neural pathways, where I'm going to start thinking like that, thinking of more stuff that I'm grateful for, as opposed to, and we all know negative people on the job, right? A lot of negative people on this job, right? It's the end of the world. This is bullshit. Hey, man, you won the lottery. Congrats, man. 500 million? Yeah, they're probably going to fucking tax it. I'll probably end up getting like 400 million. It sucks. Okay, cool. I'm going to invite you to my party. This is going to be great. Do we know people like that? No, we do, right? We don't need that negativity, right? So it comes to a time when you really got to start cutting that shit out, man. Cutting that negativity out, no matter who it is, right? Sometimes it's family. But if we don't practice mindfulness and practice this shit happening and practice how we feel around people and around situations, then we're not going to have that. And what it's going to do, the body keeps count, right? The body's going to keep score. And the body's going to realize all the stress that we have endured over the years that we've never addressed. We don't recognize it because we keep moving forward. We keep going for the next goal, the next mountaintop and stuff like that. Meanwhile, body's keeping count, man. We don't know, but that rucksack's getting heavy. And there's going to be a point when that rucksack, it does get too heavy, right? But we're too busy going for the next promotion or the next position or the next job. And so that's why it's important that we do recognize this stuff and recognize what's happening and what positivity and negativity feels like and what stress feels like. Are there any questions about anything we covered today? And not that we're done yet, so don't get up and leave. But are there any questions so far? Good. Okay. What we're going to do is another meditation, but this one's going to be with counting. And I want to give you these different meditations to see which one works for you, right? This is the time to experiment. This one's going to be with counting. And the way it's going to work is the same position, right? The same assume the position type stuff. But this time when you breathe in, it's going to be 1, breathe out 2, breathe in 3, breathe out 4, all the way up to 10. Your mind might still wander, and if it wanders, that's fine. No problem. Just stop back at 1, okay? And always work up to 10. And then once you get to 10, start over. And try to keep going up to 10 until we're done with the whole meditation. This is going to be about a 5 or 10 minute meditation, right? Just to be present, really. And then just to think about just everything we've covered this morning and today. That makes sense? All ready to do this? All right, this gets pretty intense, right? It doesn't. This is very simple and relaxing. So again, assume the position. Right? Feet flat on the ground. Palms on your lap. Or folded, whatever is best for you. Sit upright but not rigid. As always, I want you to take those 3 deep breaths in through the nose. I want you to hold for 4 seconds and get a long exhale out. The exhale is always what relaxes the body, not the inhale. Return to normal breathing. And before you start your counting, I really want you to visualize you breathing in the positivity, 1, exhaling the negativity, 2, positivity, 3, negativity, 4, all the way up to 10. And again, your mind might wander, right? It wanders 47% of the time. That's okay, it's perfectly normal. Just bring it back, start back at 1. All right, so for the next 5 or so minutes, I want you to focus on the counting. Try to clear your mind and just focus on the counting. I might ask questions, I'm not looking for answers, but right now, just be present. Take another minute before we come back. When you're ready, take those 3 deep breaths in, hold at the top for 4 seconds, and get a long exhale out. And all that negativity leave your body. A lot of great work was done today. And just come back whenever you're ready. How was that for you guys, the awareness of breath with counting? Anybody find it easier? Less mind wandering? Harder? Anybody? I like silence. Was it easier or was it harder?
Easier.
Yeah, there you go. Why was it easier?
Because you have counting to think about and less opportunities for your mind to go off.
Which do you see yourself using more, if any? Do you see yourself doing any of this on your own time?
If anything, counting, I think.
Counting?
Because otherwise I just start thinking about stuff.
Yeah. Me too. You guys are already thinking about what you have to do the rest of the day and tomorrow and the next week, and no, you're not?
I'm chill.
You're already like a Jedi then, huh?
I hope so.
I like
But
the
yeah,
Jedi.
I feel good.
Good. Glad, man.
Thank
So we are so close to being done, guys. But a few more slides I want to get through, and I want to end this on obviously the whole thing should be on a high note, right? But I definitely want to end on positivity and self-compassion. I think those are big deals, and I know that this field does not practice that stuff. So practicing positivity, right? So similar to practice of positivity, dimension of reality already includes conditions worthy of gratitude, right? You just haven't experienced it in its fullness yet, which is the whole purpose of this class, right? To enable yourselves to kind of feel this positivity. So with all the natural like goodness, all the great stuff around, can anybody tell me why we don't experience positivity? And I know you know the answers, but I'll wait for you guys to give me the answer. Why don't you guys experience positivity as much as you should? If you do, well, how come you don't experience as much as you should? What do cops and COs, what do all of you in your fields experience?
you. Worst of everything.
The worst of goddamn everything, right? The worst of humanity, right? And so now, but here I am trying to tell you to experience positivity. Trying to tell you to forget about that horrific scene that you saw last week, 2 weeks ago, a year ago, 5 years ago. It's tough to do. Definitely takes training, right? It takes a routine, and it takes a therapist. It takes counseling. Not wrong with that shit. Who cares? That's fine. It takes talking to peer support. It takes just talking. It takes to take care of yourself is what it takes, right? So it's like it's easy to say practice positivity and hunt the good. Great. However, I've seen this, and this. I've responded to A, B, C, D, and E, and I've seen stuff that nobody should see. But after this, 5-hour mindfulness class, I should be good to go. That's not realistic. But at least this is the framework for you to continue a practice, in order to make yourselves healthier, right, and to make yourselves more positive. But I do understand it's easier said than done. By no means after this class am I reporting back to the deputy chief saying, "Yep, those guys are good to go now. They are squared away and fucking happy. One of them just went off on a unicorn. We're good." It's not realistic. But what? Who? But you see where I'm going with this is I'm giving you these tools to make it a practice so that you could do this. And like I said, I'm not speaking from an ignorant place here. I've been there and saw that stuff, and I still see it, and you're still going to see it, but you're able to deal with it a lot healthier, if that makes any sense to all of you, right? It ain't going to take the trauma away, but it's going to give you mindfulness gives you the capacity to deal with the trauma right? It gives you a bigger rucksack. I've been using the rucksack term all morning, all day. Well, mindfulness will give you that bigger rucksack to deal with more shit, to deal with more stress, bigger capacity to deal with this stuff, right? Which is excellent, right? That way it won't overflow and you won't fucking collapse and fall over because you can handle more. And that's a big aspect of this. So the evolutionary psychology, right, is this where the negativity bias comes in, this nonsense, right? It's human beings inherited a negativity bias from our like caveman ancestors, right? Paying more attention to negative experience and information compared to the positive. There's plenty of examples of negativity out there, especially with what you guys see, even non-law enforcement, our career fields. There's still a lot of negativity that we experience. So you probably don't automatically feel overwhelming appreciation and awe for synchronization of your body's many complex biological systems. Instead, you notice all the negative aspects of it, right? Maybe you notice when you're gaining weight, you notice all the bad stuff, right? And you don't notice the positive stuff. And that's what we talk about on the trail out there, the inner critical coach talking, right? I should call myself fat before you guys call me fat. That way I'll feel better, right? It's a defense mechanism. Right, and so just a suggestion of feedback from a peer after a performance triggers a story that would be criticized. So like I already said out there on the trails actually. So neuroscientists, Rick Hansen, he's a neuroscientist that's big on the mindfulness thing and all that neuroplasticity. So he's one that quoted the brain is like Velcro for negative experience, but Teflon for positive ones, right? Which does make evolutionary sense because like long ago, humans needed to prioritize negative scenarios in order for survival. So the negativity bias comes from a part of our brain called the amygdala. I wasn't going to say it because I don't want to get caught up on the whole terms of this, but just the negativity bias does come from our brain, which is part of the default mode network. This part of the brain is used 2/3 of its neural power to search for bad news. That's how much it's ingrained in us to search for bad news. 2/3 of our brain is there, and that's for survival though. Like I said, it's not really to make us feel like, I don't need the mirror tells me I'm fat. I don't need my own brain to tell me that, right? So that negativity stuff is for survival mode. It's not necessarily needed in 2024, right? But we're still hardwired to think like that, which is why we have to work to change that way and change our neural pathways. And that's where the fight or flight comes from too. So to store a positive memory, though, however, research suggests that you need to hold the feeling for more than a dozen seconds. Therefore, people tend to blow negative information and events out of proportion and minimize an event or even forget the positive moments. Right? Mindfulness is going to help us notice the positive moments and hold on to them so that we remember them and we remember that feeling. Right? And once we remember that feeling and that sensation that we are feeling during that moment, it's going to allow us to recognize it much quicker when it does happen the next time. And you can see how great that could be for healthy, to make us more healthier. So gratitude is a state of mind that brings peace and happiness, right? Again, a lot of us, we don't express gratitude, and we really should. There's a lot to be grateful for, right? I mean, there's so many people in this world that want to be where we're at right now, even on your worst day. Especially here in this country, on our worst day, we have more than what most people have in this world. And I think a lot of us take that for granted. I know I do a lot of times, right? So again, if we can make that a point to... They say the first 3 things that you think of when you wake up in the morning is how your day is going to be. So if you could wake up and intentionally think, I'm going to express gratitude, I'm going to express positivity, and I'm going to be happy today, no matter what. Well, then, right when you say that, when you wake up, that's going to set your day forward. I'm going to express gratitude, I'm going to tell the person making my coffee, hey, thanks for making my coffee, appreciate this. I express positivity by pointing out something positive in my house, of whatever the case may be. If you make it a point to do this, 3 simple things, 3 intentions throughout the day, then that's how your day is going to go out. You're going to manifest how your day is going to go out. And again, this is all science-backed and proven. So you choose to be happy. You can choose if it's going to be a bad day or not. You get to decide what's going to cause you stress or not. No matter what the bosses here or anywhere or at home say, you decide what's going to cause stress and what's going to ruin your day. Nobody can make you have a bad day. Right? And if you think about it, that's true. right? There are prisoners of war that have come back and said that they wouldn't take back a day of their imprisonment. Fucking prisoners of war in Nazi camps said that they would not take back a day. And if they had to do it all over again, they would. How does that make any sense to any of us? They insisted that they will not be, that yes, they're physical prisoners, but they will not let their minds be prisoners, right? And that's, to me, that's amazing. That's like a superhero type thing. But that's how they thought. So if they think like that, and here we are bitching because fucking coffee was made wrong. I said 2 sugars, she gave me 3. Put things in perspective right here, right? And when we do that, it allows us to express that gratitude. You know what? Maybe things aren't so bad. I did have to work an extra shift, and I did miss a baseball game, but yeah, maybe it's not that fucking bad. You know, I can make it up on the other end, right? We could always find the positivity. We could always hunt the good. We're talking about positivity out there. This is the summary of kind of what we went over already, right? Mindfulness, it's just being intentionally present. It's being intentionally present with whatever you're doing, right? Washing the car, mowing the grass, shoveling, being intentionally present here and now is mindfulness. And that's what's going to build that connection between the prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain, and the limbic system, your emotional brain. Doing something intentionally. When you're lifting weights, you're not just lifting weights. You're focusing concentrating on the curl, right? Concentrating on the mind-muscle connection. That's mindfulness. So those that say they don't practice mindfulness, but yet they run and they work out all the time, they're practicing mindfulness. They just don't know the term. But that's what it is. You're building that connection. So these are some great apps, right? It's on the VA.gov. You don't need to be a veteran to use these apps. These are free apps. Insomnia Coach, and this, you can take a picture of this slide if you want. This is all great stuff. Inner World you see up here, that's kind of, the only way I can describe that is virtual group therapy. You create an avatar, you're walking around, it's crazy too. You walk around there, you see the other avatars, you're at a campfire or by the ocean, wherever you are, whichever room you're in, with other law enforcement officers or veterans or whoever, it depends on the group you're in. And you're doing group therapy. There's always a counselor and a clinician in each one. It's awesome. That's a great app. Again, Mindfulness Coach app, this is free. This gives you some breathing exercises and some body scans, all for free at the VA.gov. Insomnia Coach, that's another great one. That's all about cognitive behavioral therapy. If there's one app here that I would really want you guys to look at, is the Columbia Protocol app. This one right here. This one right here gives you tips on how to talk to somebody about suicide ideations, right? A lot of us are scared to talk to somebody that we think they might be suicidal. I don't want to say the wrong thing. First of all, there's nothing that you could say that's going to make somebody commit suicide. If they're coming to you, you're not going to say the wrong thing, and that's going to make them jump off that bridge. Right? You don't pull that trigger. I think, and you could tell them. Hey, the best thing you can do is just, I don't know what to say, but I'm here to listen. That's the best thing that you could do. Or if you, and then if it gets, and hold their hand and bring, not literally, or literally, bring them to help, right? So Columbia Protocol is going to give you tips on how to do that, but not just tips how to do that with veterans and first responders, tips on how to do that with teens and kids and family. So that's a huge app. That's awesome. Hidden Battles Radio. Anybody know Scott Hyder, Westford? Scott Hyder, he's retired Westford PD. He started Hidden Battles. There's Hidden Battles Radio that's on Monday night every 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. that I'm on with him. And all we do is talk about law enforcement and first responder and veteran mental health stuff. And it's a lot of dark humor in it too, as you can imagine. So, whatever. But there's that, and so that's on that's a WSMN, and there's the link right there. So all of these apps though are great apps to use, and yeah, if you download them, they're free. If you don't need them, then you don't fucking need them. But maybe you do one day, right? And maybe there's something in there that you can use. Again, they're free, so why not? This QR code, if anybody wouldn't mind, that's my social media, my YouTube, my shit like that, where I need to get the word out. But this is my contact info. If you guys ever did have any questions about anything going on, or if you guys had, everything stays confidential, right? I'm peer support. Everything does stay confidential, and I'm here to help in anything, even if it's non-law enforcement, non-veteran stuff. I'm here to help and give advice or respond to whatever y'all need at the time. Are there any questions about anything we covered today? Everyone's hungry? I'm starving. Anything? You guys good? Listen, I appreciate you guys being here. I'll be here again tomorrow with a whole nother group, but I do appreciate you guys being here, man. It means a lot. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for your